I've recently been starting work on a video about Robert Muldoon and how he shaped our politics, but I was reminded of his 1984 snap election and our election cycles, and I think this video I'm about to make is incredibly important. To disclose some of my biases, I am not in support of the present New Zealand government. That being said, this is an opinion of mine that has remained constant since I became politically interested, or politically active, however you want to call it. I think this particular political opinion, due to its nature, isn't something that a particular ideology will favour, but rather those people that want accountability. When we talk about extending our election cycle to 4 years, it's often in the context of governments don't get enough time to enact change, or it's always about politics. These are valid concerns, however they miss a significant portion of the importance of accountability. It is typically said that the government is held to account by the media. However, that is technically incorrect. The government is held accountable by the media under the threat of losing votes by looking bad publicly. The media has no direct power to enact change, only the voting population does. In other government systems, such as Australia and the USA, there are two legislative houses, a bicameral system compared to our unicameral, uni meaning one, bi meaning two. For example, in the US, they have the House of Representatives and the Senate. These are elected separately and have the power to nullify each other and prevent the other from passing law. We will for a while, we will look at the UK. The United Kingdom technically has a bicameral system. However, only the lower house, the House of Commons, is elected. The upper house, the House of Lords, is not elected. This, in essence, means that the upper house must allow laws to pass, unless those laws would be themselves illegal under present law. If the House of Lords were to shoot down laws that the House of Commons wanted, it would possibly result in a constitutional crisis for the United Kingdom, due to that not being democratic. This therefore means that the United Kingdom technically is unicameral, with one house. The United Kingdom has 5-year terms. There is a significant issue with this system. The Conservative Party was in power and polling below the Labour Party for 2.5 years during their last term. That is almost the length of one of our normal terms. Another issue is that it results in more snap elections instead of allowing the election cycle to naturally occur. For example, in 2017, Theresa May called a snap election to ensure they could maintain a majority for another 5 years, as Labour was rapidly climbing in the polls. Though the Conservatives may argue their reasoning was different, it did have the desired effect. Until 2019, the Conservatives started to pull ahead in the polls again, largely due to a decline in minor parties due to their first-past-the-post system, among other reasons. This 2019 election resulted in another 5 years, and artificially extending their dominance, again instead of being forced into an election in 2018. If they had 3-year terms, they would have had an election in 2018, as their first election in the series of elections we're looking at is 2015. If they had been forced into an election in 2018, they would not have had a governing majority, and likely would have required a coalition for the Conservative Party depending on the month of the election. These infrequent elections actually led to more elections, but at opportune times for the ruling party, typically used to ensure they maintain a majority for longer when their power is waning, or to widen their majority and also further extend their term length. This reduces the opportunities for the voters to vote at a time that doesn't suit the political parties. Over a period of 5 years, the opposition is going to have moments of weakness, or the ruling party moments of strength. This allows the ruling party more chances for snap elections, and less chances of elections at moments that don't suit them. Okay, let's say you're convinced that a 5-year term is bad. Why not 4 years, you ask? They don't get a chance to make changes. This isn't exactly true. We can already see where the current New Zealand coalition government is headed, though some people may be blind to it or in denial. A lot of people are ready to vote differently as seen in the polls, and it's only been a year. It also means that the parties must consciously consider where the country will be by the next election and keep them focused. It does not considerably decrease long-term planning by the government. Long-term planning has more to do with the party in power than the term length. And if the long-term plans of the government are bad, we should be curtailing them earlier rather than later. Instead of cancelling a ferry project 6 years into it, we should be doing that earlier, Nicola Willis. Although we shouldn't have cancelled those ferries at all. And we definitely shouldn't have done it 6 years into it. And we really should have just bought the fucking ferries, Nicola. Anyway. Typically when projects are that far into it, i.e. 6 years, the government in power will let them finish, as that's the best plan. The short-term thinking of the current government is very clearly on display, and the lack of long-term is there for people to see, and they notice. I would like to make it very, very clear that it is essential for the health of New Zealand democracy for our election cycle to be frequent, for the threat of accountability to be just over the horizon, so that the bite of the media is stronger. Our unique harmful system is extremely fragile, and any changes to it can significantly alter our democracy going forward. And the strength of your vote is incredibly important to holding the government to account. I genuinely consider 4-year terms a threat to our democracy.
Hi, I just want to thank you if you made it this far into the video, if you watched to the end, and hope you had a good Christmas. If you'd consider liking, subscribing, and possibly sharing, that'd be really cool. I do really want to start getting into making political New Zealand content. I don't think there's anyone that fills the niche in a pre-recorded format very well. There's some very, very good live stuff, but there's a niche here, and I'd like to fill it. So if you like what you've seen, this is just a snippet of what's to come. There's a lot to read about Muldoon. He's a very interesting person, in good ways and bad ways. But you should be hearing again from me soon, eventually, hopefully. Happy New Year's.